Hello, 22 Tony here. Today I'd like to discuss collecting recovered bullets. I know those of you that have watched my previous videos know that I've talked about collecting vintage and antique ammo. We've talked about in depth on 22 rimfire boxes. We've also talked about centerfire and other rimfire cartridges. We've talked about shotgun shells. But my discussions had all been about the cartridges themselves. Well, today I want to change it up a little bit. We're going to be talking about recovered bullets. Now I want to start with a little bit of a story. In the mid-1990s, I was in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And I stopped at a garage sale one day, and I found a lady was selling the collection from an elderly relative who had passed away. It was a pretty interesting collection of items. I remember I bought several pocket watches that day. I did look at some hunting and fishing items. I know he did have some pottery and some glassware. It was a wide variety of items dating back into the turn of the last century, Victorian times roughly. And I'm not sure what all I bought that day. I do remember, like I said, the pocket watches. But I also came across a small jar. It was a baby food jar filled with some recovered bullets. I didn't think they had a lot of value, and in fact I probably only paid $1 or $2 for the jar. But they seemed interesting to me, and I stopped and asked about them. I asked the lady if she knew anything about them. And all she knew was what this gentleman had told her. He said that they were recovered on private land behind what was the shooting range at what, again at the time, was called Fort D.A. Russell, right outside of Cheyenne, Wyoming. Well, if you're not familiar with Fort D.A. Russell, it is now called Francis E. Warren Air Force Base. But it started out around 1867, I believe, as Fort D.A. Russell. This was at the time right at the end of the Civil War, and during the time that the Native American Indians weren't real friendly with the U.S. Army. We're talking the real Old West. This was Cheyenne, Wyoming. The middle to the last half of the 1800s. This is what the movies were made out of. Cheyenne was a railroad town, and also an army base. It was probably a pretty interesting place at the time, and it's just fun to imagine what was going on and what these soldiers were doing in their off time that had fired these bullets. But now let's talk about the bullets themselves. Starting here with, let me point out also that I am not an expert on these items. I have very little information other than what was given to me at that garage sale, and I'm just going off of kind of personal knowledge here. If you are an expert, I tried to make sure that the video quality here is good enough that you can see what the bullets look like. Hopefully, if you are an expert, you can leave some notes for people that are interested in learning more. Also, I hope some of you will subscribe to my videos, but today, again, we're just going to talk about these specific bullets. Well, on the left here, I have what appear to me to be percussion style, Civil War style percussion rifle Maxi balls. Again, this was 1867 when the fort opened up, and by that time the Army definitely did have breech loading rifles, but I believe there were still some percussion rifles being used. This one appears to be about 55 caliber. I'm guessing this is the same. It's flattened out, so I don't know, but about 55 caliber. This one here, I believe, is around 30 caliber. I didn't measure this one, but it's somewhere in between. So again, it just seems pretty interesting to me that these were found behind, an Old West Army fort. Well, the next group of bullets I have here, these appear to me, and again, I'm not an expert, but I believe these were probably from a breech loading rifle. This would have been the next generation of rifle after the percussion, was the breech loaders. And these are similar. There's a couple of different varieties here, but certainly similar type bullets. Then to the right, I've got a few other items that were recovered at the site. So we've got everything here from a little 22 up to the 55 caliber that I pointed out before. There is a interesting variety. Again, the cast lead Maxi balls up to what are apparently modern style bullets. This one particular seems to be metal casing around some type of solid centerpiece. We've got lead round nose jacketed bullets. So these are, more what we would expect in a modern type rifle bullet, while we still have here the cast lead from the earlier style bullets. So I'm going to end my discussion here. Again, I'm not an expert on these items. I hope this might encourage some of you to start thinking about this. I know recovered bullets, I'm in south central Pennsylvania, not far from Gettysburg. You can always find Civil War bullets for sale around here, recovered Civil War bullets. But there are other interesting places throughout the country where these types of items are available. Something to be thinking about anyway, and it's definitely an interesting collection. Well, this is my entire collection. I never really went out looking for them, and I probably won't go out looking for any more just because that's not what I'm interested in. But I thought some of you might be interested, and it might encourage you to start your own collections. Thanks for watching. Again, feel free to subscribe, and please feel free to leave any kind of information that you have about these bullets for other people that might be interested. Bye.